We take a week off for every funeral, and then we wonder why we are not competitive.
The president therefore charged workers to rise above the lackadaisical status quo for Ghana to realize its full potential. The president also touched on other issues, including government stance on the private sector participation compact of the Electricity Company of Ghana with the Millennium Challenge Corporation, saying government will stand by its decision to amend the deal. Nana Akufo-Addo maintained that government wants more than 20% control agreed by the former government to protect ECG workers from being sacked.
Government has amended the terms of the concession agreement to require that 1. Ghanaians own at least 51% of the concession. 2. There should be no involuntary layoffs as a result of the concession. 3. The term of the concession will be reduced from 25 to 20 years.
The Secretary General of the Trades Union Congress also addressed the parade and said organized labor was prepared to work with government for decent jobs for Ghanaians.
The socio-economic challenges facing Ghana today is an indicator of this failure. Joblessness among the youth remains the greatest challenge facing Ghana, in spite of our enormous wealth. After 60 years of independence, a significant number of Ghanaians cannot afford housing and education for their children. Many Ghanaians cannot afford basic health care. They rely on unorthodox medication, even where there is a clear need to consult a doctor. It is becoming a curse to grow old in Ghana because we are unable to take care of our elderly in our society.
Right, so the day celebrations were marked throughout the country. However, Kumasi saw drama when the small-scale miners stormed the Jubilee Park bearing placards in protest of government's crackdown on Galamsey, which they say is largely affecting them.
The Ashanti Regional Chapter of the Small-Scale Miners Association of Ghana put up a sterling protest against government's directive to have them halt operations in effort to clamp down on illegal mining. The association noted that it was unfortunate that they were being asked to quit their trade and called on the president to rethink his decision, which they claim is depriving them of their livelihood. The group stormed the May Day parade in the Ashanti regional capital, Kumasi, chanting war songs and daring people speaking against their operations. Speaking to GHOne News, the acting executive member of the Ashanti chapter of the association, Frank Osei, insisted that the union has contributed to putting together a task force to help flush out Galamsey operators in the region. He maintained the association was ready to dialogue with government on the way forward.
If he doesn't look at this situation very carefully, there's going to be a lot of unemployment rate. There's going to be an increase in robbery. There's going to be rural-urban drift. You know, most of the men are in the villages now. But the moment they suspend this mining, these young guys will rush back to the towns. And you know the big cities, and you know what is going to happen. So we want the president to look at it again. We, the small-scale miners, we've realized that the call of suspension on mining activities has affected us big time. So we are going to form internal task force to cooperate whoever DC takes his office to make sure that we eliminate or clamp down any illegal activities. More so, we want to assure him that all the degraded lands, we'll make sure that we reclaim them. We'll advise our people. We'll make sure we'll go after them to make sure that they reclaim any degraded land.
Prevented the workers from marking the May Day. Labor groups within the region are converged at Keta, where the event was expected to take place, only to run for cover away from the thunderous rain.
Workers drawn from both the public and private sectors marched from the Keta Municipal Assembly to the Keta Senior High School Park, where the ceremony was scheduled to have taken place. The Volta Regional Minister, Dr. Archibald Lecha, was billed to have delivered the address on behalf of the President, who was equally engaged at the national event. And before the event could have started, the rains set in and the resultant storm ripped canopies under which the workers were seated. They ran for cover and abandoned the event, and so the speeches were sent home undelivered. Perhaps the event could have taken place if some of the labor groups hadn't arrived at the event 2 hours late. Ahead of the event, though, the regional secretary of the Trades Union Congress, Elvis Valer, called on government to adequately resource the various labor institutions of state to enable them deal with labor infractions which have been on the rise in recent times.
Right, still on activities marking Labor Day today, turning our attention now to the Bono Ahafo region, where the regional minister, Kwaku Asomacheme, he pledged government's commitment to collaborate with the private sector to create more jobs.
Workers from the Trades Union Congress in both public and private sectors participated in this year's celebration. Bono Ahafo Regional Minister Kwaku Asomacheme also noted that the government will need the right atmosphere for industrial peace. He added his outfit's resolved to develop the region.
Government will continue to partner the private sector to ensure that it flourishes, to accelerate the growth and development of the economy, to create more jobs, which will lead to an improved standard of living for our people.
The Bono Ahafo Regional Secretary of the Trades Union Congress, Comfort Ansuma, noted that decent jobs could be created for Ghanaians if there is collaboration. She called for the revitalization of all aspects of the economy.
Restoring hope in Ghana requires that we create decent jobs for Ghanaians. It means we need to revitalize all the major sectors of the economy, including agriculture, manufacturing, mining, quarrying, construction, trade, transport, finance, utilities, education, health, security, and all other sectors.
Right. Did you know that per Ghana's labor laws, employees are supposed to work 8 hours a day and also enjoy an extra pay if they exceed their normal working hours? Well, that's supposed to be the case, but that isn't not the reality in most workplaces. In the following reports, we analyze the laxity in enforcing labor laws, especially as pertains to the 8-hour working rule in Ghana.
The labor front in Ghana might be organized, but there are a lot of things not going well. Remember former President John Agyekum Kufuor's quote, "The employee is pretending to work while the employer is pretending to pay." That was how he described the relationship that exists between Ghanaian employees and their employers. A closer look at Ghana's corporate landscape does not only give credence to the former president's description, but also describes the bane of employee productivity in Ghana and the effect it has on the growth of organizations. President Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo made a similar remark during his address at the 2017 May Day celebrations.
We spend hours chatting on the telephone when customers are waiting to be served, thereby increasing our labor costs. We take a week off for every funeral, and then we wonder why we are not competitive. There's the petty stealing of paper, envelopes, tea, milk, and other equipment. There's the reckless use of office vehicles. Employees show no inclination to protect the things that are in the offices and factories, and extreme reluctance to stand up for what we know to be right in our workplaces in general.
According to Ghana's Labor Laws Act 651/2003, an employee's normal daily hours at work is 8, but they can work longer hours at a particular time, provided the average working hours do not exceed the normal working hours and must not exceed a total of 40 hours a week. However, it appears the situation in the country over the years has been in contravention of this rule. The country's labor law emphasizes that the worker may not be required to perform overtime work exceeding normal working hours unless there are fixed rates of pay for overtime work. However, the law does not fix the rate of overtime remuneration.
The overtime is not coming. We work for the 8 hours we've been paid, but for the remaining 4 hours we prepare overtime forms. It's not been paid. I would like to urge the president to look at these things holistically and then find a system ensuring that all those who work beyond those hours are being paid, because it's their sweat and toil.
But in other jurisdictions, overtime hours are usually paid at 150% of the normal hourly wage.
For the union that I represent, if for reasons that you have to work beyond the 8 hours, then definitely there should be that understanding. However, it is not only pay. You could be given the hours back. You could be given the hours back. So if there is this arrangement, then please do an hour, and the next day I give it back to you. That could be arranged, and then that understanding have. Yeah.
So is the Ghanaian employer ripping the employee off, or 8 hours a day is too small to achieve employee productivity? This, indeed, is a troubling food for thought as Ghana joins the rest of the world to mark May Day today.
All right, well, so as workers globally are celebrated, there is a dangerous phenomenon that we cannot go silent on, and that is graduates' unemployment. Indeed, the rapid increase of unemployed graduates on our streets stick out like sour grapes. Francisca Ahin has filed the following report.
Celebrating workers is all well and good, but we cannot turn a blind eye to the depressing issue of the high unemployment rate in the country. The situation is so alarming that Ghana now has an association of unemployed graduates. It is therefore no news that the number of job seekers outnumber the number of job vacancies on the labor market. For many young graduates, the lack of jobs becomes frustrating and depressing, especially when one has to remain home for years after completing school. And that is a situation Albert Latte finds himself. Albert completed the Kwame Nkrumah University of Science and Technology 4 years ago. He studied business administration with a first-class degree. Albert's attempt to get a job these past 4 years has proved a major challenge. He has thus given up on his dream of securing formal employment and has ventured into trading. Being the first son of the family, Albert has had to leave home because he couldn't meet the expectations from his family after completing school. Albert now sells jeans at the Mokola market near the law school in Accra.
As a first son of my father, he expects a lot from me. And finishing school, sat in the house, and I became frustrated. Like, my parents started asking questions. Won't you go and look for a job? I write applications to schools. What you just said, they asked for experience. I just came out from school. How can I get experience of teaching? And so I get frustrated. My parents sometimes don't even give me money to eat in the house. So I had to seek advice, go to friends for money to go and eat. Then one of my friends introduced me to this work. That is why I'm here. I didn't come here because I wanted to come here. I have a very big dream, but situation demands, that's why I'm here.
Another unemployed graduate, Elizabeth Akwe, completed the whole nursing training school in 2013. Elizabeth says she has had issues with her postings, and all attempt to get government to employ her has also proved futile. Elizabeth is now a second-hand clothes dealer at Mokola.
I've been home for 3 years. But after school, you go through a lot, especially from your parents sometimes. When you are home, even you yourself, you don't feel comfortable to ask, hey, Mom, I want this, I want that. So it's not easy, Even when you go out searching for jobs, you write application there, they'll be asking you, do you have any experience? Have you worked before?
Graduate unemployment is real, and the failure of government to effectively tackle the issue is leading to a lot of social vices. Deputy Minister for Education, Dr. Educhum, attributed the graduate unemployment phenomenon to the gap between academia and industry.
Significant factors may include the type of courses students, of course, did at the universities. And then you also have to look at the economic environment. If the economy is not growing, jobs are not going to be created the way it should be created. So it becomes a constraint on the labor force in terms of how many people could be employed. And when you find yourself in that situation, then you have to begin to look at what incentives can we create for businesses to hire, how can we retrain our people.
He promised that government will implement stringent policies to deal with the situation.
At the Ministry of Education, we are doing everything. We have a project that is now ongoing, which we inherited from the previous government, the Secondary Education Improvement Program, which we are continuing through the World Bank. And it's looking at how do we resource low-performing high schools so that they can improve their performance.
Well, it's a day to celebrate workers, and we are doing just that here on GHOne TV. We have taken time to bring you stories about workers in the informal sector whose contributions we might not see but are equally important to the growth of the nation. Now, akpeteshi is a local alcoholic beverage or spirit produced here in Ghana. For some, the gin produced by distilling palm wine or sugarcane is a great source of joy, while for others, it is a great business. This report gives you a vivid account of how the local gin is produced and the contribution of the commodity to the Ghanaian economy, particularly in an era where the manufacturing and sale of alcohol is on the rise.
Without the palm oil, foods or meals such as kontomire stew, garden egg stew and mashed yam said to be very nutritious and used by many people on a daily basis. Alcoholic manufacturing companies keep increasing, with several new brands introduced onto the market. But despite innovations to make the drinks look more attractive, the locally distilled gin, akpeteshi, is keen with palm wine in its toe, as they remain the preferred choice of many. Producing the local gin requires a lot of time and effort, as producers go through several production stages to arrive at an unrivaled quality. The palm wine tappers create holes in the felled palm trees to tap the wine. The palm wine is later put in barrels and covered for days to ferment before distilling for the local gin.
Abenwa ne ye po ewia ne yegu ase a na start say ye twa ye mfa duro bia ntwa ye de jetan ne ye de huta ndi ye huta na amamansa no emu no ayede ndi amama sent bia ndi member sana ye no ano ye de sijan so sa na ensa no start say ehuru no obo no ehubo no ebaba soro ndi eba soro a eno na ye nsuo sone fa pipe no mu. The
fermented palm wine is then put on fire to boil. As the palm wine boils hot, the vapor from the boiling wine passes through the steam pipeline into a gallon or container. This process, which is done through this improvised distilling machine, is done twice to ensure the spirit has been properly distilled. This may look tedious, but the producers say the business is profitable, provided one has all the funds and needed accoutrement to engage in the business.
It's not that bad as you compare Ghana, how things are going on. I have a huge family because my father left other siblings which we have to take care. Some are in school, but I'll be the third guy, so I have to help the family to some extent before returning back to school.
So after going through the tedious process to get the local gin distilled, they are taken to the market. But akpeteshi, as it is locally called here in Ghana, is sometimes used for medicinal purposes. But there are some who just find solace in drinking. They drown all their problems in akpeteshi.
One bottle. But you see there.
One bottle no a day and I say.
There's 1 hour one bottle. But you see
one day a double
oh, no, I'm a cobalt bottles. No, my emre. Nti aduane kwa na mtumi ndi ba yenya papa no ano sisi ane de no no asikyire nim ana no correct nti sisi ano oba hye enten wa ano ama yenom a mtumi di dokono 4 cedis ama sisi me body na ba nti papa no hiam why.
A survey conducted by the Ghana Organization on Fetal Alcohol Syndrome, a non-governmental organization, estimates that about 7 million gallons of alcohol are consumed each year in Ghana. This undoubtedly is a boost for the sector, but local producers have decried the unwillingness of financial institutions to grant them loans to develop their businesses.
Taking loan from bank is very, very difficult because they don't consider us to maybe having that huge amount of money, so paying back the loan, people are not ready to give out. That is the problem. So we will say for them to give us credit facility, it's not all that easy. If you go to them, they are not ready to help.
Why do you think it's
I don't know. Sometimes they'll ask for pay slip, those things.
This business might not be white-collar in nature, but you obviously cannot overlook the contribution to national life.
Right, so from palm wine tapping, we move on to gari making. Indeed, gari is a popular and widely patronized food item that serves as a savior to many, particularly students at all levels. Now, despite it being popular, producers of the foodstuff, which is made from cassava, are unhappy about the tedious nature of the enterprise, which they say involves a lot of manual work, together with long periods of exposure to open fire and smoke.
Which is made from cassava involves a lot of manual work. The lack of state-of-the-art machine to grind and dry the cassava, as well as modern frying equipment, have prevented people involved in gari processing to expand their businesses. After harvesting and peeling the cassava tubers, they are washed before grated in a grinding machine, which also requires so much strength to spark.
Because the thing is, this sparking come work as our bike away home. This sparking to the beer. We be say beer say but na free say electric one wo, but the thing is, who could talk electric one a beer light bill and then yes because some be a demand a market a bands or be tioka. Yes, as will be on any penny na ere. Omu etia ka no tinte yes answa na offend simple light bill nitua no eba mo a untumi nti obeso metwem pene se adwuma na ere atosin.
The grated pulp are then put into jute sacks, which are tied and put on each other in a machine that helps in squeezing and draining water out of the pulps. The machine is tightened to enable it to squeeze out all water from the pulp. After some time, the dried grated cassava is sieved to remove the large particles and unwanted materials. The smaller sieved grains are then collected for frying. The frying process requires continuous stirring to ensure that the gari does not get burnt and also ensure it turns out crispy. Although gari is not a large export earner, it is steadily catching up as some producers nicely package their gari for exports. Some residents of Adeso who process gari on a small scale say the business can boom with exports increased if government pays more attention to the gari making business by assisting them with capital to expand their businesses.
Ska almost ubenya apafu ska nyana ska na sa unyi ska biara nkwa ntumi ye gale no nti apafu be sisi banchi no o ma mechi abu nti uwi ska ne nyina unye hwe so nti sesi da se ya beje kaka to de bien so a dry season mfaso osu nsu tomre mu say rain season say mfaso bia eni sunsu onu na ye nduma fitia senti kakra obedi no wanya mo kakra fi mo.
Gari can be taken as a snack in cold water together with milk and granuts. It can also be cooked in hot water and turned into a starchy paste and can be eaten with any soup or stew. For several other people, including students, gari is eaten with black pepper sauce known as shito and canned fish in schools. It is a staple that undoubtedly requires attention.
I'm still salivating. Yeah. And who told Alice that gari is only savior to students?
That I don't get.
Young lady, I beg your pardon.
You should edit the story because Gary saved me this afternoon.
Well, you're talking about afternoon. Well, I had gari and groundnut soup for breakfast. How about that? Okay. And that's my favorite. I mean, I can do gari, breakfast, lunch, supper. So, I'm sorry. It's not just savior. It's not just savior too. All right. Well, if you just joined us, we're live on GH1 TV. This is News Tonight with me, Abno Wusunyame. With me, Baswadona Hammond. And I'm here with Abno Zunyamiche. Well, did I just change my name? But that's okay. But we're moving on now to some other stories. Indeed, this one, it is a job that requires the total exertion of manpower. It is not the ideal job any parent would wish for their child, yet when circumstances hit you in a way that you least expect, man has got to survive. Yes. Indeed, in this report, Imelda Ajay tells the story of 27-year-old Foster Akmana. He is a truck pusher at the Agbogloshi market here in Accra, and why his work, though menial, has some rewards at the end.
Truck pushing is certainly not the ideal job any parent would wish for her child. The job is menial, and some regard it as degrading. And so truck pushers are usually the scorn of society. There is no honor in being a truck pusher, but someone has got to do it. 27-year-old Foster Akpena is a truck pusher here at the Agbogloshi market in Accra. Foster's job include carting assorted goods, drinks and foodstuff from one location to the other.
All the way from the Agbogloshi market, we have walked through the graphic road, and now we are getting closer to our destination, which is the CMB market. Whilst we are here now, there's traffic, and so we are stuck, and we would have to wait for the cars to move, so we follow through.
Sometimes he would have to walk long distances to other parts of the capital to supply goods for his clients.
Finally, we have reached our destination, which is the CMB market, and Foster has delivered the goods to his clients.
You might think Foster is poorly paid for his efforts, but think again.
The charging fee depends on where the person is going to. We have some parts of Agbogloshi here where we take a bag for 6 cedis. And then we have the place to take for 5 cedis. Then we also have the place that we take for 7 cedis, the same Agbogloshi here. And then if you are going to CMB, we have the place to take 8 cedis, 7 cedis. But if you are going to Tudu, Mokola, it's 10 cedis for a bag. In a day, if you didn't work at all, then you can be able to earn up to 500,000. 50 Ghana cedis. If you do a lot of work, let's assume from 600, 700, 60, 70 Ghana cedis.
Foster's day usually starts at dawn. He roams the streets of Agbogloshi with his truck, prospecting for clients. The scorching sun is never friendly to him.
The challenges, the most important one is the traffic. Because when you come to the traffic, then you have to be more careful with the drivers. Because sometimes, if you see some place where you can dodge yourself and pass, the drivers, they won't allow you because they're in a hurry. So that is the most difficult challenge I would say we are facing in the job. But like when you are pushing to, it's heavy, depending on the amount of goods you are carrying.
Foster is not enthused about his job, but he needs to survive because he has a family to take care of, and his contribution to national development cannot be overlooked. Despite his job being regarded as menial, he contributes to the AMA's internally generated funds through levies and tolls.
Person like me personally, I do care for my welfare a lot, so I don't play with that one. And then I do send money to my parents and my younger ones, and then buy clothes and other things.
But he advises other youth like him to take education seriously to be able to contribute more to national growth.
Well, we are still celebrating workers. Now, this group of workers have chosen to ignore the raised eyebrows and whispers to break into an uncommon occupation. They produce an item that most people will never be caught admiring, even though it is almost always in high demand. The job of a coffin maker can be described in two ways: a silent reality and a scorn scale. So what happens when coffee makers complain of low sales? GHOne News' Ridwan Karim Usmandini has more.
Undoubtedly, it is the most uncomfortable space, one that many do not want to see or hear about, but also it is one that brings tears to the eyes whenever there is a feeling of loss. But for Solomon, these uncomfortable spaces put food on his table on a daily basis.
I have my car, I have my house, you see, because this morning like this, before 6 o'clock, I'm in the business, and I'll close late, 7 o'clock, which some of the government workers couldn't do that.
He is a coffin maker. It is a grim job, one may argue, but someone has got to do it. Never mind the fact that they may be viewed as sadists profiting from the loss of others. But this is not his intention.
People think we do pray for people to die. Even I can, talking to me now, maybe returning home, I don't know what will happen to me. If I say someone should die, and I went home and my child or my wife has died, will I be happy? So people think we do pray so that people should die. Actually, we do pray that we should have markets. When there's a body at the mortuary, we are praying the family should locate us and come to where we will pray. But you can't pray that someone should die.
Solomon's 17 years experience in the coffin making business speaks volume of his passion and dedication to his work despite the societal scorn.
Many people do talk anything they want. See how they have prepared a lot of gaskets. They are praying people should die, this, that, a lot. That one there is a must.
Solomon's first child tried seeking for employment after his tertiary education without success until he landed a job at his father's workshop. Since then, he has also become financially stable and will soon open his own shop.
I have more than over 7 children. Through this business, I do take care of them. Though it's hard, so most of young youth doesn't want to learn it, you see. But it's better the youth should learn it.
In another shop in Teshi, we pounce on this amazing array of artwork and sculpture. For a moment, I thought I was in an artist's studio, but as it turned out, these are coffin makers' works. In spite of the innate fear human beings have of death, Ghanaians have found ways to celebrate even in the most morbid of circumstances. In Ghana, The fantasy coffin industry is not just about paying respect to the dead, but also a status symbol of the deceased. This coffin here, no doubt, signifies that its occupant will be a pilot or dreamt to be a pilot. This one here is for a pineapple seller or a fruit vendor, and that one for a baker. If you are a lover of Coca-Cola or perhaps club beer, then of course you'd have to be buried in one of these. Now what you see here is a video camera. These coffin makers here in Accra believe that if you are a broadcast journalist like myself, then the perfect send-off for you would have to be in one of these video camera caskets. Indeed, a video camera casket for a journalist. Another popular design is the tilapia casket, which is heavily patronized by those in the coastal part of the country.
If you see tilapia like a fish people like, then you can see some our mothers or our sisters sell it. Then some people say, oh, my mother sell it tilapia, or my father is not a sea, but he go to a river to, yeah. Then it depends, maybe, oh, my father is a professional work, then let me buy the tilapia to bury him.
The coffin making business undoubtedly has no season, but are dealers in a league of their own? And do they always smile all the way to the bank?
When you want something like tip, Afro-Dairy, Manstonia, they are costing, and many people couldn't afford it. So we shape ourselves. We are doing all type of gaskets. When you want the quality, you have it. When you want the cheap one, you have it. When you want the middle one, you have it.
From the coffin maker's point of view, your choice of caskets should be tailor-made to take you to a better life after death. Ridwan Karim Dini Osman, GHOne News, Accra.
So you know what I'm wondering?
What?
A coffin for a makeup artist, for instance.
Ah, okay. We'll have a makeup box.
Probably in a contour kit shaped coffin.
I don't know
for a
how I
makeup
feel
artist.
about this story. But
Well, I think we decided not to comment, right?
yeah, so let's take that break.
On that silence, indeed, I think Redon was trying to describe it a certain way. A silent reality on this scale. On that silent reality note, let's take a quick break. When we return, though, we have some business brief for you. Stay with us. My name is Besa Donaham, and I'm here with
Avina Owusu-Nyameche. We'll be right back.
All right.
We unite. We defy. We hope. We dream. We play. We are fire in our hearts.
Celebrate 60 years of independence with a Guinness or Sajafo. Grab a bottle and look under the ground for a chance to win one of over 1 million bottles. Taste the celebration with...
And time for us to bring you the business brief. The business brief is brought to you in association with the National Investment Bank. Your business is our business.
Business brief is brought to you by
National Investment Bank. Your business is our business.
For 2 months. Building in this country is too difficult.
Don't worry, the National Investment Bank, we pay for your dream scheme, can help you finance your building project.
Listen, NIB gave me cement, iron rods, roofing sheets, and other materials to finish my building.
NIB can also help you purchase your home appliances, your mobile phones, and your motorbikes.
You don't even need to have an NIB account to benefit from the NIB we pay for your dream scheme. No.
Just visit any NIB branch with a valid national photo ID card. And the best part is, all purchased products are at no interest.
Call NIB now on 050-145-1050.
National Investment Bank. Your business is our business.
President Akufo-Addo has said that he will pursue macroeconomic stability to revive the economy and create congenial atmosphere for businesses to thrive.
President Akufo-Addo, who was speaking at the May Day event to recognize workers, noted pursuing macroeconomic stability would build the capacity of existing businesses to grow and spur entrepreneurs to create more jobs for many Ghanaians.
Macroeconomic stability, which is key to economic growth and job creation, is therefore being restored. We must make it easier for people who want to set up businesses to do so and remove the impediments in the way of entrepreneurs and expand the formal sector of the economy.
The president also noted government has saved the country some 433 million cedis by removing ghost names from the payroll.
Through a payroll audit conducted by the Ministry of Finance under the impressive leadership of Ken Oforiatta, in the last 2 months, some 26,589 workers' salaries have been suspended from the April 2017 payroll. These, quote, workers, unquote, have not come forward to be biometrically verified by SNCC, despite numerous calls by the accountant, the controller and accountant general to do so.
Indeed. The government is poised to clear all the ghost names. I think it is a good thing.
Definitely.
Having ghost names on the payroll and people are ripping off the country.
Of course. I mean, 433
million.
That's a lot of money.
It's a lot
of money that can do so much, help grow, this economy. Indeed, I don't know if you remember, ahead of campaign 2016, we heard, a lot of talk about the fact that we're going to be closing in on a lot of these, money that are locked up, elsewhere. So, I mean, I think it's a step in the right direction. Hopefully, we get to, retrieve some more monies.
Yeah.
For the growth of
the finance ministry is currently auditing some of these things, the payrolls and other inflows, where the money goes. And so we look forward to seeing more. We need to save the money. We need some more cash.
All right. Well, like how we do it, we definitely will get the news for you as and when it breaks.
But more importantly, the president is saying that enough of the prayers at the workplaces.
I remember the first story, right? Abna, you're dragging me into this. I was trying to reserve my comments for tomorrow morning.
I want to hear your comments.
On GH today. Yeah, because then I think I get where the president is coming from. There are those who they get to the office and that's all they do. I mean, it's a fact.
They pray throughout the day?
Not just sitting at one place and praying. I mean, I know people, for instance, who just will, clock in, put their bags down and dash down to the church hall for some church services of a sort. There are church services that run throughout the day, So I think probably that's where he's coming from. But a little devotion before you begin work, it's in order and acceptable.
Well, let's pick the next story this one.
Well, in other news, Ghanaians, especially workers, we're told look forward to holidays indeed, which is so much excitement. Holidays are for resting, partying, spending time with family and friends. And so on a day like this, when most workers are taking the opportunity to rest and hang out, the story for traders is quite the opposite. While we combed through town in search of businesses that were cashing in on the holiday.
The streets of Accra, as usual, buzzed with excitement. Today being a holiday for workers, one would have expected a halt in the activities of businesses in the central parts of Accra, with traders spending time with family or enjoying themselves somewhere. But this was not the case when GH1 went through town. Most shops were opened, with traders engaged in brisk business. We spoke to some shop owners to find out why they didn't take the day off to rest, even if they are not captured in the formal sector. Most shop owners declined to speak to us, especially when they had lots of customers to attend to. But some did.
Because my mother don't want us to be in the house. That's why we came and opened.
She just doesn't want you to be in the house. Or you are here to make sales.
Oh, we are here to make sales, if I may say so.
Nowadays, the holidays is not like that, like the previous ones that we have been celebrating. So at times maybe I have to come and see, maybe I'll get more for my bank people. That's what I'm in.
Nkrofo okromo moto ade nti o se indi kan bra na yembeto yembehwe omo beto ade na ansa nti yesi yebe break yebe pombe 2 nti time na no yebe park na yesu yepie akochele kakra.
Some pedestrians who spoke off camera pointed out that holidays and weekends were the best times for them to shop, especially as their work takes all their time.
Well, against the spirit of the day being May Day, some security men at the Mokola market assaulted a GH1 cameraman as he filmed traders at the Central Business District conducting brisk businesses on the day. The security men claimed the cameraman ought to have sought permission from them before filming and interviewing the traders.
It is sad to note that on a day such as this, where workers worldwide are being recognized and celebrated, security men at Makola decided to assault our cameraman Ebenezer Mensah. The security men claim the news team did not ask permission to speak to the traders who voluntarily granted us interviews. Narrating the incident, the team who went to Makola said 2 security men approached them, claiming to be in charge of the facility, and ordered them to surrender their camera and microphone. In line with our GH1 News policy, the cameraman introduced the team, but refused to relinquish hold of the camera. The 2 men forcefully tried to take the camera, and when that failed, they marched the news team to their office where they assaulted him.
I was officially assigned from the office to go with a reporter to the Mokola market concerning the holiday and how market is going for those who have opened their shops and why they choose not to stay off and enjoy the holiday. So in the process or in the middle of the interview, 2 security men who claimed to be from the Mokola shopping mall approached us that we should hand over our equipment to them. But I had my hand in the belt holding the camera, and he was forcing me to hand over the camera to him, which I refused because one, the fact that he says he was wearing a security uniform doesn't make him a security man, and I have not been able to identify him. So based on that, I refused to hand over my camera to him. So I was rather asking him what the issue was, and he said we are not allowed to conduct the interviews here, so they are confiscating equipment. And I told him then that's not the process we go about it, because where I have my hand and he's twisting my hand to take off the camera, it's not the right thing. What if he breaks my hand? So based on that, I refused to hand over my camera to him.
Later, when the supervisor came, the GH1 News team narrated their ordeal. The supervisor only apologized for the conduct of the security men.
I think the apology isn't enough.
No, obviously not.
It's sad that on a day when workers are being celebrated, security men at the Mokola market can assault another person who is also doing his work.
And I find that interesting. Since when did we have to seek permission from security men at the market to film? You know, so let me just assure you that we definitely, as a media house, as a family, are going to get to the bottom of this and the culprits brought to book. Well, if you just joined us, we're live on GH1 TV. This is News Tonight with me, Beiswadona Hamanda Nabina Owusunya Meche. And when we return, we have more news, of course, plus the weather.
We bring you the weather update now.
The weather is brought to you by Innisfly for a pest-free life.
Well, so that was your forecast figures for the entire country. Now to some sport. News Sport is brought to you by Castlegate.
Sports Brief is brought to you by Castlegate Real Estate Group.
Castlegate Estate Ghana Limited has evolved with new management and administration and positioned itself to serve you better. Seize this opportunity to do business with us by reserving a plot this year and start your own construction today. Castlegate Estate also has near complete or shell houses and serviced plots at prime locations on offer for sale at Katamanso, Tema Community 22 and 25 extensions, Dodoa and Prampram at very affordable prices. Our fully serviced plots come with electricity, pipe-borne water and road network. These plots are now selling fast. Just call our new management team and book appointment for free site visits. Castlegate Estate. We make home ownership easier.
Ghana's midfielder Sule Muntari says he walked off the pitch in the game against Cagliari after match officials failed to take action when he was being racially abused by the home fans. The former AC Milan midfielder was booked late in his side's 1-0 loss at Stadio San Delia, seemingly for dissent after confronting the match official. Muntari, who responded by walking off before the final whistle, has since claimed his premature departure was an act of protest following his perceived mistreatment at the hands of sections of the home crowd. Former coach of Asante Kotoko, Michael Osei, is expected in Takwa over the weekend to conclude talks that will see him become the new coach of Midiama SC. The 45-year-old on Wednesday had a preliminary discussion with the club's hierarchy after he watched them in their March Day 13 clash against Ashanti Gold in Obuasi.
Sports Brief was brought to you by Castlegate Real Estate Group.
We can now bring you some entertainment news. This is GHOne.
For many holiday revelers, the May Day celebration provided an opportunity to relax with family and friends. For many, the beach was one of the choicest locations to while away time. And it was not surprising that many found their way to the Labadi beach.
May Day, it's a day to honor workers worldwide. And why we are here today is just to while away time from the family, to have fun, just the two of us, away from the children.
The serenity of the place, the fun and the people provided many with an opportunity to relax and spend time with family and friends. But the fun moment was curtailed as the weather proved not too friendly for many of these holiday revelers. The rain set in and sadly the fun ended.
Vita-Rich formula has been stolen. Get it back at all costs.
Great tasting cowbell with Vita-Rich has the 28 vitamins and minerals you need to be at the top of your game. Delicious, nutritious cowbell with Vita-Rich, our milk.
All right. Well, there seems to be a lot of fun activities out there. What have you been up to? All right. So you're in my head now.
Okay. I've been sleeping all day,
You've been sleeping
and
all
eating.
day.
Yeah, and then I woke up. I came to.
I guess I have done same. Fortunately, my husband and the kids left home.
Okay.
In the morning, so I had a whole day to myself,
Oh,
basically.
well.
Yeah, it's been very relaxing.
It's
for
a
me.
tie.
You know, for the kind of work we do, I think that sometimes when you have a little time like this to yourself, you just
You want to
to
have some alone time and then just
some
sleep.
me time. All right. Well, we're back here though, working for you, and it is GHOne News Tonight, a special edition with me, Basfadon Haman. I've had a lot of fun doing this with you, Abna.
Such an honor.
Oh.
You're back tomorrow morning.
I'm back tomorrow
With
morning.
today.
GH today, of course, with my King Cast.
All right.
All right. Well, thanks for watching. I guess time tomorrow. I'll keep watching GH1 TV. I'm Basfadon Haman once again.
Two guests, one host, forming a panel of 3 lawyers. Each week, discussing relevant legal topics.
As soon as the court grants the adoption order, that child is no longer the child of the natural parent.
There isn't a single text in our law books which would come close to forcing a kid in his mature age to take care of his parents.
The gossips. Yeah. You've heard it's baseless. You move on from house to house discussing it. They can sue you for defamation.
If you go to office and you don't work, when is the end of the month? Feel shy. Don't go to the bank, please.
Some people actually sign prenups at the wedding ceremony. Actually, they sign it first and then they sign the certificate. What is this?
Law Express,